Welcome to Evilive, the live media commentary show that answers the question, is the devil truly in the details? Subscribe if you're new to the channel, because today we are reacting to the new San Diego Comic-Con House of the Dragon extended trailer. This is the Game of Thrones prequel series based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. House of the Dragon chronicles the beginning of the end of the House Targaryen, the events leading up to and covering the Targaryen War of Succession, known as the Dance of the Dragons. So, let's watch this thing and get into it. I love me some Game of Thrones, so I have hopes.
The dream, it was clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering hooves, splintering shields and ringing swords.
God, that's good.
And I placed my heir upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
I've seen dragons.
I consider the matter urgent.
You
That
know
of
this
your
song?
succession.
The Iron Throne is the most dangerous
Venus
seat
and
in the
Birds?
realm. And our line is
Velvet
vulnerable,
Underground?
too easily ended.
Who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
It's a great version of the song.
Rhaenyra's
Look at
succession
that.
will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your first duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir. War is afoot.
I
Do
hate
you
the
think the
platinum
realm
blonde.
will ever
I really
accept
do.
me as their queen?
The lords of the
Terrible.
realm bend the knee.
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne. Because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Your family has dragons.
There are power men should never have trifled with.
Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. If Rhaenyra comes into power, she can cut off any challenge to her succession.
I am to inherit the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Oh, our hearts were never one.
Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
Oh, yeah. So
Where
good.
is duty? Where is sacrifice? Now they see you as you are.
That looks good. That looks way good. All right, I'm going to have this playing in the background. I'm going to pot it down. And, all right, so this is created by Ryan J. Condal and George R.R. Martin. It's based on the Fire and Blood Book 2, The War of Anarchy, by George R.R. Martin. The music was composed by Ramin Djawad. Hope I said that right. Background music was actually based on Velvet Underground's Venus and Furs, as I said before. Now, this series takes place 200 years before the events of the Game of Thrones series and novels, Song of Fire and Ice. And it's during the reign of King Viserys I Targaryen, ultimately leading to the Targaryen Civil War known as the Dance of the Dragons. And it looks like this first season is going to be wrapped around the idea of Targaryen woman coming to power, the princess, and sort of having that Game of Thrones battle with the Hightower woman. And ultimately, that's what this entire series has always been about. I heard this same Ryan J. Condal also was supposed to do another before this series was chosen. He was supposed to do another adaptation of a Games of Thrones universe property, but it never actually got greenlit because it didn't feel like Game of Thrones, according to the producers in the studio. Which I think is interesting. You know, I'd like to see what that looked like if it didn't feel like Game of Thrones at all. But then, you know, once this novel was released, he decided to try to adapt it and got George R. R. Martin on board. And so now this entire series structure is going to be based around existing, already written and completed content. And that's different from the Game of Thrones because Song of Ice and Fire hasn't even been finished yet. I think I said Fire and Ice before. Anyway, so they had to make up the last, I think it was 2 seasons, on how the showrunners, D.B. and Weiss, wanted it to go rather than how George R. R. Martin was planning on finishing it. But then again, George R. R. Martin hasn't even finished it. So he supposedly has an outline of what he wants. So who knows how it'll actually end according to the literature. This, however, once again, is a complete story. So I don't think we're going to run into those issues that we had with the original Game of Thrones story, except for maybe redundancy. I mean, we are still dealing with the same areas, the same families, even though some of them, you know, in the original series were long gone and only, you know, 1 or 2 of them had existed of the Targaryens. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. And by all accounts, I am more excited about this IP coming back to streaming services than any others. And there's a lot of really great potential content that's coming out. So on this channel, you know, I want to talk about a lot of different genre shows, not just fantasy, not just horror or comedy or drama or suspense. I mean, I'm going to be covering it all. But I'm definitely going to be doing reviews of this as soon as each episode is released because I love me some J.R.R. Martin and I love me some of his Game of Thrones universe. And that's really how they're wrapping this up as a Game of Thrones universe. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, I thought it looked fantastic. I can't wait to dive into this universe again. It looks great, you know? Again, the platinum blonde Targaryens do bother me. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't. They just look kind of silly in my personal, not so humble opinion. But what are you going to do? I just realized my camera is like way low res. So hopefully that resolves it now that the video is over. So anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. What do you think about this trailer and this series that's going to be coming out? I'd like to hear your comments in the comments below. And always remember, evil spelled backwards is live.